Well, I'm making these really cool cutting board stands. I'm using leftover material. I do buy the dowel, but it's a very inexpensive project. It goes together quickly, makes for a nice gift, and it's a lot of fun to make. So let's hang out. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Welcome back to the shop, everybody. So I've got a little bit of spare time on my hands. I'm waiting on a couple of projects to dry and cure. I've got a little extra wood, and I thought, I'll show you a real quick and easy project. This is going to be a, a cutting board stand, and I'm using templates today. So we're going to get into it right now. This is a fun little project. It's only going to take me maybe 15 minutes to get done, but let me walk you through all the steps. I use templates on most of my projects, and sometimes I make them myself, sometimes I buy them. These were bought from Crafted Elements. They did a nice job with these. They weren't very expensive at all. So what I'm going to do is lay these out. I like it this way. I'm going to lay these out, mark them, and what I'm going to do is take them over to the bandsaw, and I'm going to cut about 1/8 of an inch outside of the line I'm scribing. And then I'm going to put this on my router table with a flush trim bit, and I'm going to cut it to an exact size. It's perfect every time. You might be thinking, well, why am I using a template versus just kind of drawing it out myself? Well, if you think about it for a second, if you're going to do a handful of these at a time, this is so much more quick. All right. You can see we're cut out or marked out on this. Let's move over to the bandsaw and blast it out. I just heard someone say, Derek, I don't have a bandsaw. You don't need a bandsaw. You can use a jigsaw. You don't have a router table with a flush trim bit. Just do a really great job cutting out with your jigsaw, okay? All right, let's hit the time lapse. Okay, I think you can see there's my line, and I just cut right to the outside of that. So the flush trim bit is going to do a great job. Also demonstrates that if you were to use your jigsaw and you cut a nice line like that, you'd be good to go. All right, so double-sided tape is your friend when working with these templates. First thing I do is just wipe it off, make sure we've got a nice surface, and the sticky tape is pretty darn amazing. It does a great job. If you're liking the content, I'd sure appreciate it if you subscribe, hit the bell to get all the notifications. You are helping me out tremendously. I'm living my dream here, and I hope you get some value out of my content. All right. These are great projects too because oftentimes you have scrap wood, drops from some other project, and that way you're not wasting wood. So these are not big sellers, but they're great for your amazing client or a loved one that has a beautiful cutting board. Okay. A little challenging to get that backing off. All right, all I'm going to do is just make sure that I've got this laid out perfectly. Looks good. Once you've got it set, just give it a good squeeze. I'm going to do the same thing with this one, and then we're going to go over to the router table. All right, so we're at the router table right now. I've got the flush trim bit already installed, and it's got a little bearing right here. That bearing needs to ride right along the the acrylic template here, and then the blade will do all the cutting on the wood. So it is important to get that adjusted properly. So this flush trim bit I picked up from Bits and Bits. I don't get any money from them, but I do like their product. So there you go. One other tip, when you're going in to start your cut, don't just bang into it. You want to kind of start it out as you're moving. And again, by cutting just an eighth inch over the edge of your line, you're not cutting off too much wood at once. There's problems with kickback and end grain issues. So again, just kind of be gentle with it. All right, I'm going to put this on time lapse. That'll save your ears, and we'll get this done real quick. Well, I'm sure a big fan of the flush trim bit. It makes my life so much easier. Well, I'll tell you, that bit makes for a nice, beautiful cut. Just gorgeous. Smooth as can be. Okay, so before I take this template off, I want to make sure that I make my marks here. That's for the hardwood dowel that's going to go in. Again, this is another nice advantage of using a template. Okay, very simply, little putty knife. Get in there and give it a pop. If you leave that sticky tape on for very long, it does end up kind of losing some of its stickiness onto the template. Now you have to clean it. So I always take these off right away. Okay. I'll do the next one here in just a second. This is the round over bit that we're going to use on the router table. It does a nice round over, and I think it looks really stylish. All right, let's go back to the table. Well, you don't need to have a router table to get this part done. You can do it with your router and just secure the piece of wood to the table. The next step is to drill a hole through both of these stands. So this hardwood dowel is going to go through. And I've got the little drill press set up. If you don't have a drill press, don't sweat it. Use your battery powered drill. Just be straight up and down. Okay. And by the way, that spoil board on the bottom, that prevents any tear out on the back side of the stand. So just a little tip for newer woodworkers. There you have it. Let's get it off the clamp and we'll get this fine tuned so we can finish it up. Well, the dowel is a very snug fit into the stand, so I'm just going to take my sander and take a little off. Okay, that's going to work. Let's check this one. That one definitely is going to work, no problem. That's what it's going to look like. So now I need to disassemble this, and I'm going to sand it out to 220 grit. Well, wouldn't it be nice to sand this quick? That's some highly caffeinated sanding going on. I always enjoy putting on the finish. This is my board butter, and it does a great job. Brings out the natural colors of the wood. Check that out. That is pretty. So if I were to sell this on my Etsy store, I would sell it as 3 pieces, not pre-assembled. That way it can be shipped very affordably. This particular one is going to go to our house. So once the board butter is applied, I'm going to let that sit for about an hour. Let it soak up all that goodness. It's lovely. And then wipe it down and I'll assemble it, give it to my wife. She's going to be a very happy camper. Well, as you can see, this was a very easy project. Got done very quickly. Takes a while for me when I'm running around with the camera trying to set shots up, but without any interruptions, it really does go quick. All right, we'll see in a little bit, and I'll show you the final product. Well, this turned out to be a nice project. I hope you enjoyed it. Please click subscribe and hit the bell so you get all my notifications, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.